Cosatu, do you or do you not support the youth wage subsidy?
We never supported it. We have taken a view against it since 2005 when it was introduced, with a long debate and discussion when the Treasury presented a paper in NETLEC. We make to them, put factors to why we're opposed to it.
Why are you opposed to it?
We refer to the international labor organizations, which has made a comprehensive studies in terms of where attempts were made to introduce the wage subsidy, its failure, its complication. Even in the paper that Treasury was presenting, they considered in some instances that this is an attempt that its success are not highly, and is not in fact in many countries where they've tried, they've dished it out.
Yeah, so why are you opposed to it as Cosatu?
Look, we presented a number of points. For example, in the report by the Treasury as well, the ILO, one of the factors that it's a dead weight, fact where the employers or the workers employed will have been employed in any way without the wage subsidy. The question that where it has been practices, there is no training for those young people who goes in. So there's no skill acquisition by the people who goes in there. But also the question of replacing the older workers with the younger workers for the sake of just assessing the incentives. So there's been a number of examples, and we engaged with the ANC leadership on Monday. We talked to them, and we came out of that meeting hopeful they understood us.
That you don't support it?
That it will not work. Not that only they will not support it, but that it will not work.
Will it not get a proportion of young people currently unemployed into jobs? Will it not encourage employers? I understand that there will be an insidious element of employer who will see this as an opportunity just to make more money. However, there are other employers who will see it as an opportunity to say, look, we have reached our high point in terms of employees. However, government is now saying, we will meet you some way towards paying the wages. Will it not help some of the young people who are currently unemployed?
It will not help to increase the number of people to be employed. What it can do is to replace older workers by young workers. So it does
in some instances.
In most instances, we don't see where it will increase the personnel, because there's no record that indicate that if you put away subsidy, it will increase the intake of people. So there are a number of other issues which you said they must consider. So in the Skills Development Accord, in terms of the intake regarding to the green economy, in terms of the rollout, where we said maybe a portion, a certain percentage, should be reserved for young people so that they can be able to get an experience, or whether they can be able to be taken on.
Yeah, but in terms of where things are now, you wouldn't at all support incentivizing employers to employ young people in the workplace. There could be no audit mechanisms that are put into the system to say, to get the subsidy, you should indicate that you employed a minimum of 5 young people without losing any other jobs on the upside where older people were employed who may have been retrenched. So protect people in that way.
Not in the form of wage subsidy, but there are sectors in our country that you may be aware of. For example, the clothing and textile, the question of the auto, where sectors in distress, the government has been able to pump money to deal with those issues. But they are not specifically say this money is for wage subsidy. It is to make the company prosperous, to be able to create more jobs, but not in the form of the wage subsidy. So what we will engage on other incentives, but not on wage subsidy. And we came out of that meeting understanding that government is not going to push for wage subsidy.
But it sounds like government is going ahead with it.
No, in NETLEC, you remember the Treasury tabled the wage subsidy 2 years ago. We're engaged. It's gone. It's not more in the table. So it's something that surprises us when it comes back in the Hutla. When it was defeated in 2005.
But now it's there. So how are you going to deal with it?
It's not there. It's not in the NETLEC.
It's not but Lekgotla has said now that it looks like the ANC wants to go ahead with it.
But we engaged their leadership. We got an understanding that they're not going to be talking about wage subsidy.
Okay, so President...
wage subsidy is gone. We don't think the way the president will ever talk about wage subsidy.
But if the president announced it, what would you do in the State of the Nation address?
Because in our engagement with them, we came out with the understanding that the wage subsidy is not an issue.
Yeah. So if it happened, what is plan B?
We'll engage again and try to tell them again that it does not work.
Yeah.
We'll continue engaging and everybody to understand. It seems to us that you convince this leadership, other people will try to bring it through the back door.
Yeah.
We'll engage again because it's facts. You can't change facts.
So just again, for the benefit of our viewers, how do you propose to address this huge level of unemployment with
Look,
that we've got
in
with young
the
people?
NETLAC, we have now about to finalize it in the few days to come, a framework on the youth employment, which include the question of procurement, which include the question of co-ops, the cooperatives, which include the question of the intake in the green economy. So there are a number of schemes.
Done how, though? What are the ideas? Done how? So in procurement, how?
For an example, in terms of we are putting views that says the youth, the young people must form co-ops so that when there's a procurement, they can go to those businesses that are run by the youth to say, can you provide this thing? For an example, if you take the issues of geysers or the installation of geysers, which will be reserved for young people, a certain degree of it. In the green economy, the same thing. If you go to the rollout in terms of infrastructure, there should be a portion that is set it up for young people. Government on its own, in terms of the rural developments, and many, many other schemes, in terms of the 885 billion rand infrastructures, there are schemes that we're going to be announcing very soon in terms of where the young people can get employment. Yeah,
but now you're finding, with the cooperatives, how are they going to work? A cooperative of young people approaching, say, City Power for the installation of geysers, there's no experience there. How do you mitigate those kinds of limitations?
Look, the question of the skills might be a challenge, but of course we have already indicated to government, to the EDD department, how it has to be done, and we are busy forming cooperative. There are workers who have been retrenched, young people who got some kind of an experience, and of course they have to tap up from the older people in terms of how to run their business successfully. So they have to be nurtured to be able to grow with some kind of guidance, but in our view, they will succeed.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Begin Jalinjali is Deputy Secretary General of Cosatu, talking about the youth wage subsidy. Cosatu does not support it at all, does not see how it can work. International experience, research shows that it has not been successful in other parts of the world. What are your thoughts about this youth wage subsidy? Would you support it? Would you not? Is Cosatu on the right track, or do you think Cosatu is being unreasonable? What are your thoughts? Tweet at Mbuli Vuyo, at Leanne Manners. Text 33726. Let's